When we come into a place, it's to touch one life eternally.
I've always been in construction, so that wasn't what I needed. But working for the Lord, I needed guidance, and Rob provided that. And Jackie, you also. And Kat, you know, the conversations that we have after work and through were valuable. And I'll tell you why they're valuable. Because today, I get to work on a job with Michael. And we get to witness the people in downtown Brooklyn that walk on the street and we give them the gospel. I never would have been prepared for that if it wasn't for what God did with you, did with Reach Global, and the training that we got. And I'm so blessed. God blesses us with friends and opportunities to do His work. Thank you so much.
I was given an assignment by Rob one time, and he had said to me, he says, you're going to put some windows in. He says, but if you're talking to the owner about God, I don't care if you don't put any windows in. He says, just talk. So in my company today, there's a rule. If anybody is talking to somebody about God, shut the project down and do a Bible study and talk to him about God. The most important thing. That was the life-changing experience of Reach Global and you guys, Kat, Jennifer. I go outside the project where I'm working and I'll stand in the street and it's like my prayer walk. And where did that come from? Reach Global. Reach Global is, it didn't change my life, it rocked my world. And all glory be to God.
I just love when God brings like-minded and like-spirited people together. So there was a unspoken, I knew they were like us. I knew I could just talk to them and be who we just real. We were able to say, you got volunteers, and we'd swap, or we'd send them, or they'd send them, and that's the beauty of working as kingdom-minded. You know, we have to be kingdom-minded, not just about our own church, but kingdom-minded, and they have that same kingdom mentality, so.
Then within a matter of days, sometimes weeks, definitely months, people go back to their own lives and they forget about that, hey, you know what, there is still an issue going on. And to see that you guys were here for an extended period of time and building those relationships and having that to go on is it's fantastic.
And all the volunteers that worked in my house has brought God into my life. And it has blessed me. They showed me God's love. Like some of you have said, that's so much more important than the house. I mean, I'm not home yet right now, but God is in my life. I just want to take this opportunity to thank you guys and the workers and the volunteers.
I used to think, or what could I do in a week? And that was totally the wrong question. It was, what can God do in a week? And one thing I particularly want to thank you for is your openness to working with other organizations on Staten Island. Because that's a really important and oftentimes very hard aspect of disaster recovery that I want to recognize you for. That you sat in meetings when I know you were anxious to be in homes, to be with your volunteers, but you took that time to collaborate with so many other people in the midst of egos and people bickering, but your collaboration and the information that you gave to so many people, I think resulted in more good work being done. And I just want to name that you brought the image of Christ to the powers that be, to bureaucracies and institutions that you infused with love, and that's a really special kind of mission work, so thank you.
We needed a slower pace and needed to learn how to walk with people instead of work through projects. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys walking with the people instead of working through the projects and burning through the houses. Like Tom said, like some other organizations would come in and want to tear up the houses and chalk up numbers, but it was the patience, dealing and understanding that it's more important to rebuild lives than it is to rebuild a home. And if you could rebuild a life No matter where they live, they'll make a good home.
But it got so much bigger. It spread, and we saw homeowners asking questions about Christ. We saw people joining churches. We saw people baptized. We saw Bible studies started, people growing in their faith. And in the volunteers, we've seen them come back as interns. We've seen them go other places as interns. We've seen them work with other organizations entirely. And that's so incredible because this is what we were called to do.
This is how we know what love is. Jesus laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers. If anyone has material possessions and sees his brother in need, but has no pity on him, how can the love of God be in him? Dear children, let us not love with our words or tongue, but with actions and in truth. And this is what we've tried to do. The second question that I always get is, how many houses did you do? Don't keep track, don't plan on it. All that does is bring glory to me or to Reach Global. The question that should be asked is, how many lives have been changed? Don't know, but I can tell you this, a lot more lives than houses. We came here to rebuild lives, and we did that by sharing Christ.
And so as you look at the devastation that Sandy brought, we know that there's devastation in people's lives. Sin has caused that devastation in people's lives. And so the pastors and Katrina and Jen and so many volunteers worked tirelessly to build houses. But even more important, it's really great to see lives being changed, and the lives that are being rebuilt or built on the foundation of Christ. That's really what it's all about. And so when we see that happening, we hear the stories of, now I'm involved in Bible studies, now I'm involved in churches, and God's really used me. That's really the impact. And Reach Global's leaving, but that doesn't mean God's going to stop working here at Staten Island.